This is exactly what I would do to improve my insulin resistance. Coming from somebody who had insulin resistance that was driving my PCOS to I now have perfect fasting glucose, insulin, A1C. I also have regulated my cycle and gotten pregnant naturally 3 times now with PCOS. With insulin resistance, most of the advice that you'll see is eat low carb, and that's kind of the end of the story. Besides, take metformin, take berberine, take inositol, and that's it. But what do we do long term to actually fix the insulin resistance? Carbs are not the issue. You don't just have to eat low carb long term. The issue is with how your body is able to process and utilize those carbs for energy. And that is where our focus needs to be. So yes, part of the conversation is at least being more strategic with our carb intake, or potentially lowering carb intake slightly for the time being to stop the blood sugar spikes and crashes from happening, but then also supporting that metabolic health and how our body is able to process and utilize carbs. So how we do that. One is we need to make sure that we are eating regularly throughout the day, regular meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and probably some snacks in there. So we're not going too long between meals. That can cause dysregulation in blood sugar and also cause cravings that are going to make it harder to stick to the plan. We need to make sure that we are getting in enough of the right nutrients and enough calories. Again, this is going to help with cravings, but also getting in sufficient nutrients. Nutrients are the little behind the scenes guys that are helping with that blood sugar regulation process. And we need to make sure we're getting enough of the right ones to support regulating blood sugar and that insulin resistance. Movement is one of the most important pieces to help our body be more efficient with regulating blood sugar. So a step goal, and specifically walks after meals, can be really helpful. I usually give my clients a step goal of 6,000 to 8,000 steps. But then also weight training is a really important part of getting insulin resistance to a better place. And then after that, we have to dig deeper into root causes like thyroid function, gut health, toxic burden, liver function. These are all things that also go on under the surface that contribute to insulin resistance that a lot of providers will miss and not take into consideration, and that's why that insulin resistance is still there even though you're doing all of the right things. I was one of these people where my insulin resistance wasn't fully under control. I was very healthy and doing all the right things, but still had that subclinical insulin resistance. And until I addressed the toxic burden, the parasites, the gut inflammation, my detox pathways, that insulin resistance would have always been there and fighting against me.